After nearly 100 years of copyright protection, the first version of Mickey Mouse is now in the public domain, which means over the next few years, you might see, well, things like this. All right, so what you just saw were clips of the upcoming horror film Mickey's Mousetrap, which is just one of several productions using the classic 1928 version of Mickey in a different light. In the past, Disney would block production of this kind of content, of course, saying it infringed on their copyright of the beloved mouse. But now, since this specific version of Mickey is now public domain, there is not much the company can do at this point, and it seems to be part of a growing trend. Just last year, Winnie the Pooh and his friends in the 100-Acre Woods were turned into violent murderers in Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. The sequel is expected in February. It will include Tigger, who was under copyright until now. So are all characters doomed to eventually become part of a bad slasher flick? I don't know. Joining me now to discuss, let's bring in legal analyst and trial attorney Misty Marris. Misty, so great to see you. Happy New Year. So we just saw the clips of this movie. How big of a deal is it for something as iconic as the earliest version of Mickey Mouse to now be part of the public domain?
Happy New Year to you. And boy, those movies look pretty scary to me. Seeing Mickey in that form, wow, that gives you the chills. Look, it's a huge deal. Steamboat Willie, this is one of the most iconic cartoons. It's really the beginning of Disney. And of course, Mickey Mouse synonymous with the Disney brand. So to see this character become part of the public domain is definitely a huge deal. And as evidenced by Disney actually fighting tooth and nail back in 1998 to extend copyright protections, because this would have originally, without that extension under the law, come into the public domain in 2004. So they got themselves 20 years with an extension that applied to all creative works from that year. And so now we're seeing iconic characters like Mickey, as well as other works from 1928 in the public domain. Huge here, Nicole.
It really is, Misty. And, as you were talking, I was listening and watching the video there. And obviously, that's a specific look for Mickey, that very early look. And there's still a complicated mess of protections around Mickey Mouse as a whole. So what is and what is not actually available to the public at this point?
Yeah, it's not limitless, and that's really what's important to understand. So that 1928 version, a specific version of Mickey Mouse that's now in the public domain. So creators can add to it. They can use their own creativity with that character. However, there's definitely a line, and it's a line we might see play out in litigation. First of all, Disney still owns the copyright to all the other iterations of Mickey. And so you think about the iconic white gloves, the eyes, the expressions, all of that is still protected by copyright. The other issue is that Disney still owns the trademark. And this is an important distinction. So to the extent a creator uses this 1928 version of Mickey legally, but somehow links it to the Disney brand, or it's not clear that it isn't affiliated, there could absolutely be trademark infringement. So there's going to be an avenue for Disney to litigate over these issues as this character is in the public domain and used by other creators.
And you bring up such good points there, Misty, because I didn't even think about the fact that that early version of Mickey wasn't wearing the white gloves. And when you said that, and then we showed the video, I was like, oh my goodness, it's not. Is there a way for Disney to try to get back the protections?
To get back the protections would be nearly impossible. That's based on the law. So it's all based on the copyright law of 1976. Again, there is an extension to that law. Originally, copyrighted works were protected for 50 years after the death of the creator, or in the case of a corporate character like this particular character, Mickey Mouse, 75 years. Copyright Act extended that another 20 years to 95 years. That's a long time, right? But so in this case, to get that copyright back, it's not going to be a legally viable path. However, as we spoke about before, there's certainly going to be limitations. And Disney, I imagine, is going to be litigious in watching the way that this character is used to ensure that it doesn't infringe on those trademark issues or on the other iconic elements of the character, which they still do own under the copyright.
And just really quickly, Missy, you pretty much answered it there, but I mean, I'd say we are pretty likely to see some type of legal fights over the precise limits of public domain Mickey.
Oh, for sure. There's always going to be contention in that arena as they hash out what the limitations are. And look, there's other iconic characters. Winnie the Pooh, we saw that clip from that horror movie. Now Tigger, Sherlock Holmes, so many out there in the public sphere now. And there's certainly litigation surrounding what is a legal use based on those limitations that we discussed before. I think we're going to see a lot more to come. Disney's going to be pretty litigious on this one. When it comes to Mickey, yeah. Mickey Mouse.
I know. It's so hard to believe. All right. Misty Marris, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.